Hi, everyone. I'm Ugo. I'm from Heck House of Electronic Art in Basel. I will talk about decentralized structures, especially DAOs, and the utopian concept that could live within it, and how we kind of used a DAO or created a DAO to work with creatives and work with artists and curators on a whole new level of togetherness. So first of all, just quickly, Heck is a museum in Basel. It mainly does media art exhibitions and probably like 4 to 5 exhibitions per year. So we are quite small. And I'm head of communications at Heck. And as Pierre already told you, I'm involved in all the Web3 stuff that's going on. We had a big project in 2023. It's called a transformation project for the museum. It's because we want, even though we are quite digital, we want to digitalize even more, and it was funded, and then we had like kind of the playground or the starting point to work with new technologies like blockchain technology. This is like Heck, how it looks like in the exhibition space. It's always completely different. Last year we had the topic of blockchain technology also in the exhibition space. We had 2 big exhibition on this topic who like both critically reflected the technology itself and how artists could work with such a technology in another way than expected. Means not working just with the technology, but on the technology, like creating artworks that works with seed phrases or so on. But today, we're gonna speak more about like the structures of museums and how possibly blockchain technology could influence it. So as you see here, this is like quite regular type of museum. The structure within a museum is super fixed and super like kind of slow to move on because there is still like top-down management in almost every museum. So the director is influenced by politicians, by funding, by advisors who gives his or her idea what they want to do with a museum to the curators, and they do exhibitions to reflect their own work or to just like work for the museum itself. The public almost has nothing to do with it. And this led me to quite long research journey because I was always kind of not so happy with that, even though I work in a museum. I felt museums are missing so much at the moment, especially when it comes to publicity and public. So I was always not quite happy because museum can miss so much out of the public because as you know, museums are there for the public, and also visitor numbers are like money for us, because as more visitors you gain or can gain, the more funding you get by the state. But no one is really listening to the public. No one is really like trying to involve a general public to really have influence on the programming, to really like say what they want. But then it was kind of, the question was kind of in the room also at Heck. And with the transformation project, we thought maybe we can use blockchain technology to create something that could involve also the public, but I speak later more on that. The idea to like critically reflect museums is not new at all. It started in the 60s with institutional critique. Probably you heard of it if you're interested in art or in art practice. It was kind of a way to express as an artist the importance of the museum, but also like the critique of a museum or exhibition space itself. Karen Archie, an art historian and curator, she wrote a fantastic book, which I could always recommend to read. It's called After Institution, and she describes institutional critique in three phases. Like the first phase was, you see, three waves, she called. It's questioning the space where art is exhibited. That was in the 60s. So people really try to understand what is an exhibition space and how can we as artists work out of this space. The second wave was then mostly formed in the 80s, 90s. It's a social political injustice and system failures. The health system that got really like bad when HIV virus spread all over the globe, and artists try to like critique the system and the system where the museum is in it. And now we are kind of in a third wave of institutional critique. It goes more in the direction of existential crisis, socioeconomic failures, so that people can't, that artists or also people can't live in a system anymore without having enough money. This all like had a huge history, and I mean, you see the pictures. Hans Haake is a great big artist who really was in the beginning of these three waves, who really questioned the spaces where to exhibit art and how to exhibit art. Chris Burden as well. He deconstructed museum as a space and tried to do something architectonical and like kind of new way of building structures, show hidden structures of museum. And then like in the 80s and 90s, there was Andrea Fraser, who critiqued kind of the work environment as itself in museum. And a newer example is the Gallatin Gallery, who showed in the This Is What Democracy Looks Like. It was a group exhibition during Occupy Wall Street. It was a group exhibition, not with artists, rather than with regular people who just wanted to express their anger about systems. Probably ask yourself why I'm talking about institutional critique when it comes to blockchain technology and DAOs and so on. So in my research the last couple of years, and with my knowledge about like museums, and I worked always in museums, I ask myself, why is there so much critique in the beginning of blockchain technology? And why is there so much just like working for the money in nowadays blockchain or in the crypto space? So what I want to show you here is like a very first beginning of like the whole idea of the blockchain and what it could be or what it should be and how it should kind of influence our everyday life, by Eric Hughes, a cyberpunk manifesto. This is in the 80s, where they already, the cypherpunk group or crypto anarchism, they lived it, and it was more of a kind of a new way to work with technology, and technology could help to free ourselves in like a system that we live in. It's still very much technology involved, and it's still like very like kind of it is anarchism what they lived. They try to, with cryptography, they try to have a more secure internet and so on. So it was the start of like when internet really spread around the globe. They formed these groups, and this was actually like the very first starting point to think about blockchain technology as we know it today. But at the same time, there were so many other like technologies, or better say, thinkers or artists who work with the technology already there, like net art artists. It was also a form of critique through technology. Then there was like open source software. It's always like a critique to like the more wealthy or more centralized like companies who does software. So it's not, it was kind of like, for me, it was kind of logical to see the connection between blockchain technology and criticism, especially like institutional critique. Then there is like the whole topic of commons, like the whole commons thinking about like who should own and how can we own collectively, what is common good in the internet. This was a huge thing also in the 90s and millennium. But what led me really to the idea of how we can use the blockchain technology, that is quite a new but already kind of old technology, is really written in the Cypherpunk Manifest. And yeah, if you have time, you should really sometimes look it up, because it's funny to see how much info you find there on how we live together now. And it's written in the 80s. They all it all kind of led to the creation of DAOs, because I mean, DAOs, probably you already know what a DAO is, am I right? And you know how a DAO works and stuff like that, probably. So I like to really connect DAO to like a very Swiss thing called Vereine, where everybody have their say in it, and there's still a structure. But DAOs really kind of took these ideas, or could have taken these ideas of what Eric Hughes thought of the beginning of like blockchain technology, or in the early, very, very early stages of blockchain technology. It is the working together, and working together in a more secure way, and working together not only as one who has a particular idea, but like as a critical mass, as a critical group who could like influence some other projects or some big project. Recently, DAOs are used also by artists to kind of reflect on their work or to fund themselves. Yeah, you see DAOs are a collaboration between code, capital, and community. So the community thinking is always big in DAOs. It's was a post from Ria Myers. And what I wanted to bring a little bit closer is Jonas Lund, because he was like the first artist who created a DAO about his like kind of persona. He created a token. When you were holder or are still holder, you can directly have influence of his artistic practice. So there are votes from the community which decide on if he should do a show in New York or just be on vacation for the next half of year. It's also very critical from Jonas Lund, if you know him. he's always he always makes a little bit fun of the art world itself. So he always have like these kind of very strange things going on, that what I already said, like go on vacation or do a big show. So it also have naturally like an institutional critique in it. Another project is Primavera de Filippi. It's here down. She created plantoids. They are like metal built structures that looks like plants a little bit. You see it there in the background, not so good, but it's still fun to see. It's like kind of a living being that is controlled by a decentralized autonomous organization. So if you're like in the community, you can influence the shape of this artwork, and the artwork itself, it lives from Ethereum. So you have to pay Ethereum that it will live longer, or that it can evolve. And it's funny to see how she did like kind of a machine that eats Ethereum coins to live, and still like is owned by a lot of people, by a big community, who then decides on the involvement of this kind of flower looking piece. Another one is Sarah Friend. This artwork is not existing right now because she wanted to create a DAO to control an OnlyFans account. So people could, with their votes, could kind of ask for pictures, what every guy probably does on OnlyFans, asking for pictures, and you can ask an AI chatbot to create these pictures. If it got enough votes, the pictures will be released on OnlyFans. It's still like on hold because it doesn't work because of the security measurements and the AI security measurements of OnlyFans, so that no one can upload really AI pictures. It's all made with AI, but it's her body in it. So these are just like some examples for you to see that naturally, when a DAO is involved in an artwork or in an artist practice, it naturally is actually criticism. All of these works, say it with Primavera de Filippi or Jonas Lund or Sarah Friend, they critique an already existing system. They critique a structure or a system failure that they are unhappy with it. But I think mostly unknowingly they do it. So we did it also unknowingly, because we created actually in 2023, we released it. We created a DAO in which you could have direct influence in our program. So from the beginning, it was, as I said, at first, it was during a transformation project. We created much more than just a DAO. We created also NFT editions, or like the concepts for NFT editions. We had like a whole onboarding with the team, because blockchain technology, as you might know, is not really easy to use. So we were part of the VAC fellowship, Web3 for Arts and Culture called, where we developed like different technical infrastructures, because we are not in a museum, we are not technicians. So we know a lot about concepts and know a lot about how to handle art, but how to build a DAO, it was pretty complicated for us. We also had like, you see it on the down there, we had help from Black Swan Collective. It's a collective that works with blockchain technology as a method of critique and as a method of like new funding structures. just to get an idea what, how can a museum in Switzerland really work with a DAO, because there's so many gray zones that we live in, especially when it comes to a foundation, because usually museums are foundation. So for us, it was quite naturally that we don't do it because of the funding we could get with a DAO, because a DAO, as you know, always involves cryptocurrency and money. So we try to really think about, hey, what is it what we want? We want we wanted to have a community that really like gets involved, firstly, because we have a fixed exhibition schedule, but we wanted to give the public more and to involve the public and ask about our blind spots, about what we should improve. And we then naturally came to DAO could be a method. So our DAO operates fully on Discord. It's actually quite easy to set up, perfect for a museum who is technically not so avant-garde. So you can buy a token either via wallet or via just a code, like an email code you receive, and then you are in a token gated Discord area. The interaction is there, like we try to start the conversations, and there is like seasonal votings happening. So you can actually vote on exhibitions. You can submit your own exhibition that you want to see at HEC, and then the community votes on it. And we always also have NFT editions, so people can vote on the artists who then should be the next NFT edition. Here you see Oria Harvey won the first kind of round for NFT editions, and we were quite lucky to work with her. It was actually a very beautiful edition. It sounds and that's what I'm always thinking about me when I speak about this topic, it sounds actually very great. People can join, people can be part of it, but actually who really is interested in about that? And we saw that, like in the beginning, we had a lot of people coming or joining the DAO, trying to really get involved, but like the kind of, yeah, they got really quickly not bored, but I would say they get really quickly not interested in really participating. This is the exhibition space where you could potentially create an exhibition. This one is the exhibition of Annika Meyer, who will also talk here, I think. This was before, but it's just to show you that we created also a digital space where people could interact, where people could meet, where people could also like do the exhibitions and do what HEC does in real life in the internet. We are not quite there yet to really like have the structure to facilitate a real life DAO, but we were thinking about it because right now our DAO only kind of plays with the digital structure of HEC, but not with the real exhibition space. So you see, maybe we can skip to the beginning again quickly. This was like kind of before a museum with the structure, a museum that is like very fixed in his like kind of work environment. The director have influence on the curator and the public is not involved. We tried with the DAO to kind of ask the public for their interest and ask for their participation. And it could be kind of a good way to reflect on the museum itself, to reflect on projects that you have. But for that, you would need to be much more involved with the community and so on. Just to explain the slide I got here, I quoted a lot of Christiane Paul because I think she quite catched things to say about curators that could be influenced or could be influenced by DAOs. A curator, usually like the very gatekeeping curator, could been changed to a highly complex matrix of relationships, because as we worked at the DAO and worked with the community, we felt that our curators not really curate anymore, but more work for a community and work kind of try to understand what the community wants and then really just did it in our exhibition space. Or Annette Decker also said the curator is merely a node, which is reflected on this kind of slide. You see, with a DAO, you could be one with a director, you could be one with a politician, because everyone has its saying in it. It is, to say, it is really hard to do at the moment, because as you might know, crypto winter was hard. So a lot of people lost interest in blockchain technology because of the involvement of money, which is quite sad, because I think it could be much more than just like a tool to invest. It could be really a tool to let us think about how we want to connect with each other directly in a possible future, how we want to work together. And I think the best example to work together is a DAO, because everything kind of needs to be approved by the community. So that's already it.